Hello, what nuts, Humpty Dump nuts, and Denver Pie and Nut nuts. It is Monday, April 15th, not tax day if you're in Massachusetts because it's a holiday. And there's a holiday tomorrow. Then we got to kick it 2 days from now.
What the fuck is the holiday tomorrow?
My lazy ass CPAs had me file an extension like 2 weeks ago. I was like, why don't you just use the 2 weeks to do my taxes, baby?
Ironically, I sent in my stuff this weekend and I ran into my tax person at Trader Joe's in the parking lot and they were like, hey, I got your stuff. By the way, the deadline is actually Wednesday. And I was like, what the fuck?
Were you like, what are you doing out socializing?
Yes, get back to work.
So you got my stuff. The voice you're hearing is that of Pete Blackburn.
Hello.
The voice you also hear is mine. I'm Dave Bean. And over there is Sean DePaz. We're working on Sean's setup over there so it can look a little better behind him. So when we throw him on camera, he doesn't look terrible. But he couldn't look terrible right now because Sean,
that's the greatest shirt.
Pardon me, I'm going to do a little first take where they hit on Molly and objectify her for the first 3 minutes of the show.
I would love to be objectified.
I would love to be Molly Karam. Sean walked in today and I said, Sean, what gives you the right? He looks incredible today.
It's beautiful ass weather. It's high 70
it's
today.
So nice out today. This is so. You've never been in Boston for a marathon Monday, right?
I don't think so. I know I was in one of the times I visited Boston before was around the marathon. I just don't remember if I was. I haven't seen it, so like I definitely haven't been living here. That's
the vibes here today are fucking immaculate. The weather is perfect. It's like 60, 65 degrees, sunny. The Red Sox suck, but nobody cares.
Stop saying that. It's not true.
They got swept by the Baltimore Orioles.
The Baltimore Orioles are a good baseball team.
I know they're good, but
the Boston Red Sox,
that's
solid.
the first good team that the Red Sox have played.
Boston Red Sox are solid. They've got good pitching. Tyler O'Neill might be the best player in all of baseball. Hit his 7th home run of the season, leading the American League. Mike Trout can't perform against the Boston Red Sox for his life. It's nice. It's not a
nice little back-to-back jacks yesterday from Tyler O'Neill and Tristan Cassis.
Yep. Masso, he didn't go yard. He had a big bomb, but
doesn't Massa just keep getting moved down in the lineup further and further?
I don't understand it. I don't get it. I like Massa a lot.
Okay. Well, here's a question for you two. Is hit chat allowed if we're talking about baseball?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah.
So like we'll talk about hits.
Base hit chat.
Yeah. Base hit chat. If it's an error, is that allowed as well?
No, it's got to be hit chat and then in parentheses based.
Oh,
because you know how that's a kid thing now.
Yeah, based.
We have the most based hit chat you'll ever hear in your life.
I'd say we're pretty based.
That's baseball talk for the week. This is a monster week for What Chaos, and we will tell you later in the episode what is coming up. That's a big league tease. For this episode, it's very interesting because, as I mentioned off the top, Denver grabbing that ship. Yep. RIP to a lot of bettors in this room because I told everyone I knew, slap BC minus 290 money line onto all your parlays because BC is such a wagon. They won me
so much money in the lead up that I can't really be mad at them. Like I feel like I've essentially broken even. They probably made me a little bit more money than I lost, but it was a tough hit on Saturday. I not only bet them straight up, but I live line bet them in the third period. I was like, they're just too good to be held off the board. Turns out they weren't because Denver blanked them 2-0 back-to-back ships for the Pioneers.
I thought that Denver had won their championship in the Frozen Four in the semifinals.
I just like people said, you know, don't count out the experience, don't count out the coaching. Like talent doesn't always win out. I think we can feel comfortable in saying that BC was the more talented team. BC might have had the most talented team that I can remember seeing in college hockey in a long, long time.
This year's BC team, like no hyperbole, is like some, I don't know what if it would have been like late 90s, early 2000s shit where they just had like Brian Jonta and like all guys who were going to be fucking stars.
We know it now, but we're probably going to end up looking back in like 5 to 10 years and be like, how the hell did this team exist? And how did they not win the national championship?
How did they not win a championship? The answer, well, let's start the show with 3 stars. Matt Davis.
Yeah,
My God, that mustachioed gentleman, which gave me great vibes as an Oil man, because he is a mustachioed goaltender from Alberta. And
true,
there is a mustachioed goaltender from Alberta that is going to be in the postseason this year. I was going to throw out to the Twitter sphere, formerly known as X. Can anybody think of a mustachioed goaltender? And everyone was going to be like, UC Saros. Shut up. Need to add more subcategories and make it from Alberta. I'd like to do a little grab ass though, because you had a Johnny Lazarus moment, it would appear, Pete, this weekend. You got your kitchen on and almost got your kitchen on fire.
I had an accident. I was making eggs on Saturday morning, and the eggs, they looked beautiful. They were great eggs. It was the first time I had cooked eggs in a while. Felt a little nervous going into it. I was like, do I remember how to make perfect eggs? Turns out, still got it. And then I plated them on a plastic plate, and I put the plate down on the hot stove. And I went about my business, getting ready, preparing like the sides to go alongside the eggs. And turns out, you're not supposed to put a plastic plate on top of the stove. And so that result is what you see, and it is awful. Awful scene.
Oh my God. Hey, chat, be nice to Johnny Lazarus. I did quote tweet it though, and it said like, this is the Johnny Lazarus difference.
Yeah, it was. I felt bad about it. I do feel bad also for Johnny Lazarus that he immediately popped into my mind. I was like, fuck.
Did you think?
Oh yeah. As soon as I sent out that tweet, I was like, I know I'm going to get cooked by either Laz or people comparing me to Laz. So everybody makes mistakes. I was more upset that I ruined some good eggs, because obviously I couldn't eat the eggs after that. They melted plastic on them.
Well, that woke up the chat, because they said Pete plate burn, Pete Blackburn the eggs. There was somebody off the top who said, what was it? I like people predicting my intro to the show. Somebody said, what nuts, Humpty Dump nuts, and Coyotes pack your stuff nuts. I don't like that, because I'm still in a kind of somber, sad, like Thursday's show was sad.
It was, yeah. I mean, it was probably like our least energetic show that we've had maybe all season, just because we started it off and spent like the first half an hour delivering like a eulogy and being sad that a team was moving.
I think there was one total O.J. Simpson joke the entire time, and that was the only joke of the show. Craig Morgan, though, was awesome with us, so you could find that on YouTube. That actually is doing some sneaky numbers, which is nice for us. But today's episode is going to be a lot more, we'll say, preparing you for this crazy-ass week that we have. I'll tell you, we'll pay the bills with like what's going on in the NHL that is actually important. Playoff races, playoff teams, etc. But I mean, for a couple of guys who started the show talking about the NCAA championship, there's so much good important stuff that's happened.
Yeah, this is always an interesting time in the NHL, like the last week and a half of the season. And honestly, it's typically more interesting in my mind than like the playoff talk. But obviously, with the way that the playoff is shaping up this year, you got a lot of races that are worth paying attention to, and we have spent a lot of time. But you know, you've got like the college players that are signing their entry-level contracts. We'll get into that a little bit. It's just a really interesting time in the NHL. It's final week of the regular season, maybe the most interesting regular season in our lifetimes. So I'm sad to see the season go, this regular season. But I also am very, very excited for the playoffs.
Yeah, we have one playoff matchup locked so far. It's the Avalanche against the Jets. And right now, if I'm the Jets, I'm like, we get to play these guys?
I know. That's the thing. Like
it's Monday and the Avalanche kind of suck.
Colorado Avalanche heading into the playoffs on shaky ground. And part of that rumbling was the Winnipeg Jets, because the Winnipeg Jets fucking smoked them on Saturday by a final score of 7-0. And things didn't get much better for the Avalanche from there because then they blew a 3-0 lead in the third period against the Vegas Golden Knights yesterday. So Colorado's a good team, and I'm sure they'll probably figure it out, but they got to figure it out pretty quickly. And I think that kind of starts with, like, I know we've been kind of mean to Alex Georgiev over the course of this show.
You have?
I think it's mainly you, but Alex Georgiev not locked in as the starter in Colorado heading into the playoffs.
Oh no. Why? Kelly Kapoor voice. Why?
You see, I don't like that attitude. Like, I don't want to root against Alex Georgiev.
I'm not rooting against Alex Georgiev. I'm rooting against that when the Colorado Avalanche won a game in January, people would be like, yeah, so that's why he's an all-star.
He had a really good stretch for like a couple months in the second half.
Right, but after he was
after the All-Star game. Yeah, that's correct. Like, I don't think we were all on the same page that he probably didn't deserve to be an all-star, but I don't want to like say that he's a terrible goaltender. I don't want to say that like we're rooting against him, but I do understand your point of view where it's like, hey, don't be so sure when you shouldn't be so sure.
It's
that he's got the guy.
He's Taylor Swift. He didn't do anything wrong. It's just his fans have made me not root against him, but not necessarily celebrate his successes.
That is the voice of based Sean DePaz. Oh, yeah,
we should have one of the DNVR people on the show this week to like gauge the temperature of the Avs and the Georgiev situation in the final week of the season, because I am curious as to where they stand, because even during the All-Star discussion, a lot of Avs fans were like, yeah, we know it's kind of stupid that he's getting in, and then the other ones were like, fuck you, he's a good goaltender.
Pete, I love that, because this is a time for punching tickets. We know that's big around this time of year. Punching tickets to the playoffs. A lot of tickets have been punched, but taking temperature is huge.
Yeah.
So let's get somebody from DNVR, take that temperature. We already know, though, the temperature kind of sucks in Colorado, but the temperature has kind of sucked in Colorado all year. Even as they were having a good season, wins and losses wise, they were being kind of bitchy with each other.
That was mostly contained in the first half of the season. Like, as soon as Ryan Johansson was moved, I don't think that the vibes were all that bad. And plus, you've got like the most likely MVP candidate on that team, so vibes haven't been that bad in the second half.
I do know somebody said the prognosis on Georgiev from DNVR is not very good. I mean, I've been reading.
That's not very good. Very not good. Two different things.
Oh, it's very yeah. I've been reading on. I mean, Megan wrote something that was like, we need to make sure this guy has somebody in his life that is like, you good? Like, we love you, because he's throwing fits constantly and freaking out every time he stinks, and that's not fun to be around. So I don't know. Will All-Star Alex Georgiev tank the Avalanche? I also hope that this is not crossing over into something where it is like, let's hope he has good people in his life, because I famously, Basketball Deej, loved making fun of Markelle Fultz when he was supposed to be the first overall pick. Celtics took Jason Tatum instead and kind of hoodwinked everybody because Jason Tatum was better. It turned out Markelle Fultz had some stuff going on. I was so mad, because I was like, I'm not going to make fun of somebody who has actual things going on and is struggling to be a professional basketball player. Georgiev, don't you fucking do that to me, man. I hope you are great and thriving. I just need you to kind of struggle on the ice.
Chat says, to quote AJ from DNVR beat yesterday, I think Georgiev sucks, and I think he's going to sink the season. So, temperature seems very cold in Denver on the Georgiev situation. So, the Avs have lost 7 of their last 10. Again, they blew a 3-0 lead in the third period and lost an OT to the Vegas Golden Knights. That game also was the multiverses game. Did you check out that?
I saw a little bit of it, not a lot.
I'll tell you what, much less interested in that than the Big City Greens, because Big City Greens has like some what the fuck is going on here kind of situation.
Big City Greens, no notes other than that they almost killed a bunch of people during it.
Well,
and that was actually
the
part of why I
thing. I have more context for like what's going on. Like, they had Batman, they had Velma, like more famous characters. For some reason, having more famous characters lessened the intrigue for me. Whereas Big City Greens, I think that We established though that we thought that was a shell company. Like a shell TV show. It's not a real show. Yeah.
No, I
they
agree
made
with you.
that up for the purpose of doing a weird alt broadcast for the NHL, and I love that conspiracy theory.
Somebody in the chat, maybe they just joined, not happy with my attitude around Georgiev. Like a minute ago, Sean explained it, and it's not about Georgiev. It's about how people the first half of the season were towards Georgiev, where if you said he wasn't one of the 10 best goalies in the league, which objectively, like obviously he wasn't close.
Objectively speaking, he shouldn't have been an all-star goalie.
Yeah, so that's all it was. Like I wasn't mad at Georgiev that he was an all-star. I was mad that noting he shouldn't have been an all-star was met with you don't know ball.
He made the all-star game because he had the most wins.
Right. And quite frankly, he made the all-star game because on the fan vote, he was listed first.
Because they sorted by wins.
They sorted by wins, so he was listed first. So, like, truly nothing against Georgiev, and I don't like seeing people, especially professionally and on, like, a grand scale, struggle, embarrass themselves, whatever. So I truly am rooting for him to not be a that guy yells guy, but, like, we are all right. You shouldn't have been an all-star. I'll tell you what, though. That matchup is locked in. Colorado versus Winnipeg, which, good matchup. Excited for that?
Yeah.
I'm into that matchup for sure.
I truly believe that there can't be a bad matchup in the Western Conference.
I think it's going to be the best opening round series of the playoffs.
You think so?
Yes.
Well,
like, do you believe in Winnipeg that much?
I'll just say it. I said the other day to you guys that I had my Stanley Cup team locked in. I believe in the Colorado Avalanche.
That's your team that you locked in on?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I know that it's been like a couple of weeks running, so the last couple of weeks with Georgiev haven't been great, but I just like they did this with Darcy Kemper too. Like this is a team that can, I think, get over bad goaltending. And
that team that won with like not good goaltending though was so much deeper than this team.
Yeah, I get that. I think also I think the trading for Casey Middlestat is huge. I think that was like their biggest weakness was that middle six center kind of thing, and they figured that out a little bit. I believe in the Jets, and I've said all year that the Jets, I think they're kind of like the Stars, where they just haven't really gotten talked about, and they're going to show up, and they're going to have maybe the best goalie in the entire playoffs versus maybe the best player in the entire playoffs, not named Connor McDavid.
I mean, we'll talk about the Stars in a second, but it would. We're going to talk about like President's Trophy and the Stars and everything. Like, I hope that when all is said and done with this crazy season, the Stars like don't win the cup. The Stars like aren't the fate. Like this is, and again, like later in the week, we're gonna do a discussion about best cup picks for just chaos's sake.
Yeah,
I think the Stars would be like the safest.
Yeah, they're definitely
most
not chaotic,
normal, and that in and of itself is kind of chaotic. That with like all this crazy shit happening this year, it was kind of like the tortoise and the hare, and like the steady, possibly President's Trophy winning team ended up winning it. I need a little more juice in my life.
I think it goes to show how important stable ownership is, because no one looks at the Dallas Stars and is like, how the hell are they successful in Texas? And ultimately,
give one example of ownership instability costing a team.
Can't think of any off the top of my head, but just generally speaking, no, I never hear anyone talk about the Dallas Stars being like, that's not a hockey market.
Well,
because they succeed.
In the Western Conference, the Coyotes are in huge spoiler mode, and I fucking love that. Last week
they're famously like literally they're spoiled. They're rotten. You're throwing them out.
This is like when you put your 2 weeks in and you're like, you know what? fuck you, and Mr. Bossman, especially fuck you.
I disagree though, because when you put your 2 weeks in, that is like I'm not doing any fucking work. Just get me to the end of this finish line.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. I guess it depends on the situation. If there's some points you feel like that need to be made that you can now make because you don't have a job anymore.
I just feel bad. Like if you're a Coyotes fan, seeing the way that like these young players are playing right now I give all the respect in the world to that roster for even showing up and like giving any sort of effort with that team and that ownership right now. But like, and it's kind of like a twofold thing where like they're probably playing for the fans over the final week and a half. But man, it's got to suck to see like a Logan Cooley and the future of that team, Dylan Guenther, like really playing well and being like, oh, cool. So the guys that we've been rooting for and waiting to turn a corner and show and hit their potential are now somebody else's baby.
Dylan Guenther has been awesome the last few games. And one of my friends asked me, because he wanted to bet on the Flames last night, he was like, Flames good bet tonight? I was like, I'm not touching any game involving the Coyotes right now, because sure, they could lose because they're the Coyotes.
And they did.
For a few more minutes. And they ended up doing it. But I still like feel good about that advice that I told him to lay off, because A, they're in huge spoiler mode, probably because they do have that oomph of like, okay, people are paying attention to us now. Watch this. And also, just like, I would have not to do gambling talk, I'd have a tough time going against young teams with like guys that aren't going to make the playoffs, who have the legs, that this is the time of year where other teams are either resting or trying to get their minds right for the playoffs. These kids are going a fucking million miles an hour. We talked late last week about this photo finish that was lining up in the Pacific Division for the top spot between the Canucks and the Oilers. Coyotes are like, you know what? We're just going to fuck that up for everybody. Beat the Canucks in overtime, beat the Oilers in overtime. The Oilers end up playing the Canucks in that big the matchup Saturday night. Don't have Connor McDavid, lose. It looks like that at least is settled. The Canucks will have the top seed in the Pacific Division, which as an Oilers fan, I would have loved to have seen them get the top seed after all that's gone on this year, but I don't really care that they don't get the top seed. What's most interesting in the Western Conference right now is that you have a crazy race for the wild card. The Predators, Kings, and Knights are all going to make the playoffs, but they're fighting to play the Stars, the Canucks, or the Oilers. Sean, do you have the race there? All right, look at this.
Oh, in the West or the East? Oh, not the West, no.
That's okay. I've got it on my thing, so I can just give to you. Right now, the Predators are the first wild card. Kings are the third Pacific team. Knights are the second wild card. And I'll try to keep this brief for you, Pete. I know you don't like seeding talk.
I don't.
It's 97 points for the Predators, 97 points for the Kings, 96 points for the Knights. Kings and Knights each have 2 games left. Predators have 1 game left. They're all playing easy teams. So, I don't know. Tell me, of those 3 teams, who would you want? The Stars, the Oilers, or the Canucks?
Like, who would I want?
If like, because all these teams are so closely bunched.
I mean, I would.
I don't want the Stars, obviously.
No, I definitely don't want the Stars. That's by far the least, the team that I want the least. I've said it basically all season. Like, I would not be shocked if the Canucks got punched in the mouth and didn't know how to respond in the playoffs. They're one of those green playoff teams that they just don't have a lot of experience in playing postseason hockey. And like, you know, Rick Tocchet's first go with that team in the playoffs, like, I think that matters. And I also think that there's an element of the Oilers just like not being built for the playoffs. I know that we've seen them succeed. I know that we've seen them run out of steam. I would feel more comfortable with the Canucks than the Oilers, though, like as an opponent. Just I really think that, like, if Nashville got Vancouver, I'm not ruling out Nashville in that series.
No, definitely not. Yeah. Like, I'm honestly, I'm probably taking the Predators in that series, just because, like, I so agree with you on the, like, due to get beaten.
Yeah,
because it usually takes, and we'll talk about this more later in the week, like, you do have to embarrass yourself a little bit, and if not embarrass yourself, like, I don't know, maybe that series goes 7 games, but I think that Predators can beat the Canucks. I think that the Kings and Knights do beat the Canucks. I think that Kings and Knights can both beat the Oilers. I know a lot of Oilers fans are like, you know what? Give me the Knights. They got some questions. Don't give me the fucking Knights. If I am any team in either conference, I do not want to play the Golden Knights, because Tomas Hertl, you see him yesterday?
Yeah.
Fucking game winner.
He's a dog in front of the net, man.
Here he
big.
comes.
I didn't realize Tomas Hertl was like that big. I knew that he was big, but he's a big dude.
How big is he?
He's thick.
How big is he? Do you know?
I don't know. No.
Let's see.
But like, just, I don't know if it's like the Vegas Golden Knights uniform, for it, maybe just like not as slimming as the San Jose Sharks, but Tomas Hertl looks so much bigger in a Golden Knights uniform than he did in San Jose.
Tomas Hertl is 6'3", 215. That's a big boy.
It's thick.
It's a big,
sturdy.
It's a big, sturdy, thick boy. Yeah. Meanwhile, over in the Eastern Conference, by the way, real quick, are you worried about Connor McDavid? He's missed 3 games.
No, I think that it's probably just like them making sure he's right.
Yeah, but I would say that now 2 games left. It's like, okay, well,
it's not great. Yeah,
get him back, because I don't want to start doing the fucking Mark Stone stuff with Connor McDavid in the first round. That's the last thing the Oilers need. Where it's like, maybe it'll take him a game or 2 to get back. Get him back. I want him to get 100 assists. I more want him to win a Stanley Cup, but like, get him back. Make sure he's right. And I will say Evander Kane is kind of waking up. So that's at least nice for the Oilers. Over in the Eastern Conference, Penguins lose to the Bruins, but nobody is dead in that wild card race. Whoo, boy.
Crazy.
Yeah, the visual helps there. I won't like run it down, but damn, look at that.
Well, I mean, so if for anybody listening on audio, the Capitals, Detroit Red Wings, and Philadelphia Flyers all have 87 points apiece for that racing for that second wild card spot. The Flyers have played 81 games, whereas the Caps and the Red Wings have played 80. Pittsburgh has 86 points, so they're 1 point behind, also with 80 games. So conceivably, 4 teams are in the mix with 1 or 2 games remaining for that wild card 2 spot. And if you're asking me who the hell I think gets it, I don't fucking know. It seems like all of those teams have been dead or like seemingly in position to steal that spot over the past month, and they haven't died or they haven't seized it.
It's crazy that the Penguins lose that game Saturday with some theatrics at the end, and there's some real like, God fucking damn it, we needed that one, and they're not dead. They're still in it. Like it's going to take until. I think I have written down here, there's some other matchups that can be set. Yeah, Tuesday we could maybe find out about potentially Stars Predators or Bruins Lightning, Panthers Leafs. But like those wild card teams, man, it's gonna be some last day shit.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be like some Premier League shit. That's the fun stuff.
All the games like, at once.
Huh?
I love when they all the games at once, and you have no idea what's going on.
The final day chaos. Like I love an Americanized like playoff format, but I do love the final day of the EPL where like some shit typically happens. Also, I do want to answer a question that was posed in the chat. I'm an Oilers fan, but how do you see a roster with Perry, Kane, Draisaitl, McDavid, and go, these guys aren't built for the playoffs? Simple answer, you just named 4 forwards.
Simple question, you just named 4 Oilers.
That's true.
I believe, like, not to the extent my friend Jim Murray does, but like, I do at least a little bit like believe in the uniform.
I mean, the Toronto Maple Leafs are the biggest case of that. Sometimes it is stitched into the DNA is stitched into the sweater. I don't necessarily know if I believe that for the Oilers. But you look at like, and I don't want to disrespect the Oilers. The Oilers have played a much better system and have played much more responsibly in a 200-foot game since Chris Knobloch took over. But like, you can't point me to 4 forwards and say, how can you say this team is not built for the playoffs? The forward group for the Oilers have typically not been the problem in the postseason. It's what they lack on the back end, where their responsibility is, and their inability to play adult hockey when it comes to the postseason.
Well, I'll ask you 2 questions, Peter. Did you know that Darnell Nurse is playing better recently?
No.
Fine. Did you know why?
No.
Darnell Nurse is being sheltered now. They are going into the playoffs sheltering their $9 bajillion, and I hate to always throw it back to the contract, but take the money out of it. Darnell Nurse is supposed to be one of your best players, but not just best defensemen.
But you got to do what you got to do. Like, it's you can't look at the contract and say we have to force him into a role. If it benefits your team to shelter him, just fucking do it.
Yeah, but God, that does not make me feel great about like. It doesn't make me feel good. I think that the Oilers can win some playoff rounds, and I think that they could win the cup even. But there is for sure reason to not believe in them. And part of it is they're the Oilers. Part of it is they've got one good defensive pairing. And then from there, you're like, Vinny Desharnais, could you be the guy? Maybe,
You're
I don't know.
Cody Ceci minutes in the playoffs.
Cody Ceci didn't play the other day. I don't know if what they were doing, but Troy Stetcher was
That's
taking
also
his
not
minutes.
making me feel great.
Yeah, they don't.
Coyotes legend.
Oh yeah,
Troy Stetcher loves taking penalties, man.
well, I think is that it for important things? No, last important thing. Do we care about who wins the President's Trophy? Because it is a close race between the Rangers, the Stars, and the Bruins.
The only reason that I would care is if the Bruins won the President's Trophy, because and this sounds crazy, but I think the Bruins need to win the President's Trophy, but to get that second wild card spot. Just to gather some momentum, win a round. I'm not totally scared of the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think the Bruins can definitely beat the Tampa Bay Lightning if that's their first round matchup. But
famously, they have never struggled in the first round against an Anthony Duclair team.
Yeah, that's true. I just think that like the Bruins it would behoove the Bruins to win the President's Trophy.
Can I tell the chat politely to stop? I'm being so well behaved. There's so many things that I want to talk about on this show, and we've got a lot of things planned. Stop asking us Oilers questions because we're gonna answer all of them. Somebody asked. Last Oilers question, unless you have more. Does Edmonton have the goalie set up for the playoffs, though? I'll tell you what, man. There have been some moments where I'm like, Calvin Pickard, you fucking dog, in a good way. Calvin Pickard has more of that dog in him than I thought, and I am talking about the backup goalie. I will note, we said off the top of the show, a mustachioed goaltender from Edmonton, or from Alberta, just won a national championship. I believe in Stu Skinner.
Yeah, I do too.
I kind of believe in that tandem a little bit. So
I'm not worried that much about the goaltending. Like I don't think it's one of their biggest strengths, but I don't think it's the biggest concern either. Off the President's Trophy thing, this year more than any other year, I don't really give a shit about the President's Trophy because at the end of the day, I don't think any of us are going to look back at whoever wins the President's Trophy and say, oh yeah, that was the best team in the league during the regular season. I don't think that there is a clear best team in the league during the regular season. So the President's Trophy is just going to get assigned to somebody on like the last day, and it's not really going to fucking matter.
Also, if it's an Eastern Conference team, where I'd be like, oh yeah, you were the best team in the NHL. Good season.
I was literally going to say I only care if the Stars win, just because it seems like that's fair. Is kind of a kiss of death in certain situations. And if you told me that the Stars lost in the first round to whoever gets that second Western wildcard spot, I'd be like, yeah, I guess I could see that. Like if you told me that the Vegas Golden Knights beat the Dallas Stars in the first round, I'd be like, oh, okay. Yeah, that tracks. As far as the Eastern team, as far as the East goes, if you win the President's Trophy and you lose in the first round, I don't know what to tell you because you've done that to a pretty bad team probably.
Well, the playoffs are coming up, and not only are the playoffs coming up, I recently did something that I do around this time of year always, which is go on a website that lists where everybody's playing, in which towns and everything, and find my concert schedule for the summer. Mm-hmm. And then from there, I assemble my tickets, I make my plans, and I did that last week. Got a lot of fun shows coming up. Not really during the playoffs because the playoffs is going to kind of weigh us down. But whether I'm hitting a concert or one of these playoff games coming up, you can bet your bippy I'll be using Game Time to arrive at these venues because Game Time, look at me. Am I reading anything? No. I am speaking from true experience. Game Time is the easiest and I will just say most legitimate ticketing service. There's no hidden fees when you click that all-in pricing. It makes it so easy to know what your plan is financially, not just who's coming with me, just like, I want to go to this show. What is it going to cost me? This is a question that is so often asked when you just want to go to an event and it ends up costing $200 more than you thought it was going to because there's this hidden fee, there's that hidden fee, all in pricing. So easy on Game Time. I use it all the time, whether I'm attending a game, a concert, a comedy show. Game, yes. But this company and this service, Peter, could have a lot of different names.
Tremendous.
It could be called Showtime.
Ooh, shout out Shohei Ohtani. I have a good ticket matchup. Game 1 for the Boston Celtics in the playoffs, or Lionel Messi coming to play the New England Revolution. Which ticket's more expensive?
Oh, wow.
The first one was the Celtics playoffs?
First one is Celtics Game 1 of the first round of the NBA playoffs. Second one is an MLS game featuring Lionel Messi.
That's a good one.
It is very good because you'll see what the price is. But
I'm gonna say the Celtics price is more expensive because there are more seats in Foxborough. It's in Foxborough, and this isn't like a great soccer region.
So I'm going to agree with that, but I think I could be wrong.
I bet it's close though.
I think that I lightly disqualify it isn't a great soccer region thing
because
if it's a messy thing, like if it's on the earth, people will go to see that.
Yeah.
But I agree with Pete. I'm going to go Celtics more expensive.
It is the New England Revolution by $1.
Oh, $1. What's the price?
178 to 177.
That's just the get-in price?
Yeah.
That is, Sean, good one.
That is a great matchup.
Shout out
great matchup.
App is so easy to use. I didn't have to put in any work to find those prices.
This is such a fun game.
It is.
Time to play.
Hey.
So, look, I'm sure there was copy that I could have read. I am sure. I'm positive there was copy that I could have read. But when we can go from the heart with our experience, it's just that easy. As easy, I would say, as using Game Time. So download the app, create an account, and use code CHAOS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHAOS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Mentioned earlier in the show that the weather is perfect here in Boston, and that gets the mind going.
Basketball.
No, not basketball. Golf. Time to get outside and hit the links. The Masters was this weekend.
I was going to say, did you watch?
I watched a little bit of it,
Same.
but I didn't. I'll tell you what, man. I'm a hockey guy.
That's fair.
I've always been a hockey guy, but man,
you're like, can't they be moving?
My brain has one speed now. It's just like, is there hockey on?
There's just nothing quite like when the weather is nice, the sun is shining, and then you just got like the sweet, sultry tones of golf. Just nice, low noises.
I agree with you, but now my brain has transitioned into like, can I go play golf rather than watch golf?
That's fair. I mean, the Masters very much made me want to play golf.
Yeah.
They had a amateur on Sunday, or was it Sunday or Saturday? I think it was Sunday. Who the only amateur to make the cut was paired with Tiger Woods.
Ooh, that's
and
so
I
sick.
was like, that seemed like that'd be awesome.
That's so sick. Yeah, I can't wait to get out on the course. It'll keep me sane during the playoff grind, and I'm gonna get some help from my friends over at PXG because they gave me the brand new Black Ops driver, and I can't wait to use it. I used it when I went to PXG in Framingham. They had that little simulator, and they helped me refine my swing, helped me get more distance, and a little bit more forgiveness, because if you know me, I need forgiveness on the golf course.
Damn.
I need forgiveness in a lot of areas of my life, but especially on the golf course. Your boy, Stinky.
Don Henley over here.
So had a nice little fitting. The folks at PXG were super helpful, super friendly. The Black Ops driver is a breakthrough in driver technology, and it doesn't sacrifice distance for forgiveness. So if you want both, the PXG Black Ops driver is right for you. So go in, bring your old driver, or your current driver, I suppose. Bring your current driver to a PXG location and let them show you why the Black Ops driver is better than the one that you currently have in your bag. They proved it to me. They'll prove it to you. Game changer has been thrown around so much, it's kind of lost its meaning. Trust me when I tell you the PXG driver is a true game changer. You'll be as impressed with it as I was. So to learn more and get free shipping on all equipment at pxg.com, go to pxg.com/whatchaos and use code whatchaos at checkout. That's pxg.com/whatchaos using code whatchaos at checkout for free shipping on all equipment. pxg.com/whatchaos, code whatchaos.
Okay, we said that we would pay the bills with some important, relevant, and if you're watching or if you're listening, I'm just doing the air quotes, what teams are making the playoffs, who's going to win the cup, that kind of bullshit. What we really want to talk about is it's the most wonderful time of the year. I ain't talking about the postseason, the week leading up to the postseason. I'm talking about the final days of the regular season because, boys, it is burning season. College players finish their season, sign with NHL teams, burn that first year off that entry-level contract. It is happening all across the league with a bunch of teams that aren't going to make the playoffs, but I'm watching these fucking games because A, want to see the kids, and B, I'm going to miss some of these asshole teams.
Yeah, so that's why I think the last week and a half of the regular season is very interesting because you get convinced to watch teams that you've been ignoring for months.
Not even so you said that before the show. Like, we ignore the Rangers more than we ignore the Ducks.
Yeah, that's fair. But I mean, when you're talking about like a team that now is very much on my radar tonight and this week, the Montreal Canadiens, when the fuck have we talked about the Canadiens?
Sean and I had this discussion at the game. We were talking about which teams do we discuss the least.
The Montreal Canadiens being like one of the least discussed teams in the entire NHL, at least on this show, is devastating. Like, I want the Canadiens to be in the lexicon. I want them to be on the mind.
Today I shuffled up some of our props.
Yeah.
Do you know where the infamous Canadiens hat is?
Not to be seen.
I caught a glimpse of it earlier, and I was like, oh, they hit it.
So sad. It is.
It's holding up. The
it is currently a stand for an Oilers prop. So that is perfect.
I actually one of my friend's dads asked me a question like a week ago. Was like, hey, why doesn't anybody care about the Canadiens anymore? Why is the biggest Bruins rivalry the Maple Leafs? And I mean, the answer is very simple. But like, if you're not paying attention, it's a fair question. It's just like the Canadiens aren't really relevant. They're not. Like, there's not really much juice to be had from the Canadiens land right now. But you're getting some this week because Lane Hudson and Luke Tuck both arriving to Montreal this week.
Pride of Western New York, Luke Tuck.
Luke Tuck, baby.
Upstate South Central.
Lane Hudson making his debut tonight in Detroit. And I'll tell you what, proclamation, Lane Hudson's going to fucking rule.
He's going to rule?
Lane Hudson is going to rule. I have been a big Lane Hudson guy for like the past couple of years. Just electric to watch. Awesome offensive skill set. Very undersized. He's listed at 5'10". He is not 5'10". His draft here, he entered into the draft at 5'7". Now his growth plate's still active.
I was gonna say, like, Dougie Hamilton grew.
Sure, but he's not 5'10". I think like he's like 5'8", 5'9".
Yeah, there are some people whose heights are listed incorrectly. Maybe people who have been on this show, who were our first guest and captain the Boston Bruins and are named Brad. Some people just
lie.
Yeah,
I'd lie.
Got that dog in him.
So Lane Hudson, I am declaring Lane Hudson as an honorary short king because I know he's listed at 5'10", but he's not 5'10", and he also he's going to be an NHL defenseman. And relative to like NHL sizes, Lane Hudson is an honorary short king. I love him. He rocks. Montreal's getting a good one. I don't know about Luke Tuck. I don't know too much about him, but Tucky is
NHL DNA.
He has the DNA. I want to go back to Lane Hudson. Isn't it not? Don't you get disqualified like in Seinfeld when Mickey's wearing lifts? If you lie about your height to be taller, can you really be a short king?
Oh, that's a good point.
It's a fair question, but it's a business decision, right? Like, I don't know if I can hold it against him.
He's playing the game.
And like, it may not have been his decision. Yeah. Maybe it was his agent. Maybe it was a team decision.
Oh, it's gotta
be
what
he's gotta do?
Because you can lie if you're like out of the bars. You can lie and be like, "You're not actually 5'10". Be like, "Here's an NHL roster. You want to bet? I am 5'10".
Well, but I think that would, if he'd pulled that move, that would disqualify.
That's what I was going to say. I agree, but I'm just saying, generally speaking, it's pretty nice. You really put me on to him at the Hockey East, like the first game. He was more impressive than Macklin. Like, he was way more noticeable.
Yeah, he's a dog, and he scores big goals.
I would fire my agent if they told a lie on my behalf without consulting me. That's big that thing you do energy when they're playing on the showcase thing with Bryan Cranston. And they show Jimmy, and it says, "Careful, girls, he's engaged," when he wasn't.
Oh.
Jimmy fucking lost his mind and basically quit the band, broke up the whole thing. Was Jimmy an asshole? Yes. Was he a baby? Yes. Do I understand why he was pissed? Yeah.
Yeah, don't speak for me.
Even if I was engaged, I'd be like, "You're putting my business on?" Like, like TV is all we have. It's all people use.
That's true, yeah.
This is like the biggest story in the world now. That I'm apparently engaged. Which one of you boobs said I was engaged? Same person who said you had class, Jimmy. Burn. Macklin Celebrini, as mentioned by Sean, won the Hobie Baker. Not a surprise to anybody, although his season did end. Everybody's season ended over the weekend, but lost to Denver, the eventual national champions, beating BC. We'll talk about a BC player in a second. But any surprise on Celebrini? No, that was always going to happen. We'll see what kind of pro he is.
He might be playing at Worlds too.
Shipping him to the Sharks. Where are you shipping him? Sharks?
I'm undecided, but I think the Sharks need it. They also have the best odds. They locked up the best odds for Celebrini.
The Coyotes / Salt Lake are winning the lottery because it's never happened.
I'll be angrier than you.
That would be bad behavior.
That would be like that's one of those things where like I don't really believe that the NHL has ever fixed a lottery. Like it's fun to speculate, whatever, but that's one where you have to fix it. Like if you pull those cards and Salt Lake has won the lottery, which the Coyotes have never done, you have to fix that and be like, I'm sorry, they don't get this pick.
How did
the
Coyotes
way too bad?
Not even had a top 2 pick?
Yes. Yeah.
Gross. No offense.
No, it is gross.
They've earned a top 2 pick.
No, they have. That's
before.
I mean, it's like that's one of those things where it's like you can't blame the Coyotes. Like that's just stitched into the sweater type thing.
That's like the one thing that you can point at to say that Gary Bettman isn't obsessed with the fucking Coyotes.
I agree. Like that's what people.
But he hasn't rigged the draft lottery to make them more exciting.
Yeah.
We don't have it official yet, but Frank Nazar reported kind of recently, May 6th or May 7th for the draft lottery.
Okay. Is that like
I'll be into it.
Between like round?
They always do.
It's like before the start of round 3 or something. Round 2,
and there's I think we did a lottery stream one point.
I would definitely do a lottery stream.
Yeah, we should for sure do a lottery stream.
Other Frank news. Frank Nazar.
Yes.
Also burning.
Is it Nazar or Nazar? You say Nazar.
I say Nazar.
I think it's Nazar. I could be wrong. Anyway.
I mean, I've heard Nazar. I've heard Nazar. Frank Nazar. Either way, he has arrived, and he arrived immediately. He scored on his first shot for the Blackhawks.
Our guy Anthony from the Blackhawks, per his Instagram story, an iconic debut. Not a single lie told. Like I would imagine being at a late season. They're way out of it. Whatever, Blackhawks game. You see your team's top prospect make his debut, and bam, first shot, goal.
I'll tell you what. If the Blackhawks do end up winning the lottery again and getting Celebrini, that team's gonna be gross in a hurry.
Heim voice. I don't want it.
Just too much.
Yeah. I don't.
I think that's fair. I'd like to see them get a like a Cole Eiserman. I've been on the Cole Eiserman.
Yes, you have
to Chicago, and I know that his draft stock has dropped a little bit, but I like to see them get like an ancillary piece, not a Macklin Celebrini.
It is Nazar.
No, sorry. The chat said laser. Said it rhymes with Nazar. That's what I thought it was. Anyway.
Yeah, Nazar.
No, we were talking about the last syllable.
Oh, I said Nazar.
Yeah.
Nazar.
We're in agreement on the first syllable. Also, we're in,
Frank
I would
Nazar.
say, a 10-month window where there's no
right answer.
Incorrect pronunciation.
It's Nazar, according to this college hockey pronunciation guy.
But like if either one of us say it wrong at this point, there can't be a you don't know ball accusation levied against us.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's still too fresh. And
name that we do know. Cutter Gauthier. We've learned how to pronounce that one months ago. But Cutter Gauthier has signed with the Ducks, but more importantly than that, before the national championship over the weekend, he did what I wanted him to do as soon as the Philly stuff happened, which is, and if you go back and you check the tapes, I say there's a discussion like, is Cutter Gauthier an asshole? Does he deserve to be clowned for asking out of Philly for the way this whole thing is played out? I said, probably not good behavior, but if I'm Cutter Gauthier, the way that I respond to this is by leaning into it and just becoming a heel and becoming like a villain in the NHL landscape.
But he is such a reserved villain. He's not out there being like, oh, and here's what we're going to do next. Oh, yeah, they want to come at me. We told them what's what. He's just like what did you just, wait. What did you say? And Sean, what did he say before the national championship?
What do you anticipate this rematch on this championship stage to be like tonight?
It's going to be epic. There's going to be a lot of emotions, and a lot of tears for that team over there. So we're happy and we're excited to get after it.
Everybody, it's Monday, and people are pissed, or he should be pissed, or people should be pissed at him. I think we're both happy.
Oh, I want him to be that guy. I want him to be like the heel.
He guaranteed a loss there. And what he said, if you need to do it, what did he say? He said there's going to be a lot of tears on that other side. They were just asking like, hey, you're ready to play a game? And he was like, oh, yeah, they're pussies. Yeah, they're dead.
I find this so lame.
Oh, come on.
Like, I want him to be a villain too, but the reason that him being a villain in Philly was cool was because everyone was shitting on him. Like there was somebody that turned like, I don't want to say like Denver didn't deserve this because it's not like I feel bad for Denver, but it's just like you ended up losing. Like you just look like a loser now, and like this doesn't in the moment, sure, but now that it didn't pay off, you just look like a nerd.
Well, of course, like that's the risk, right? It's like you gotta, if you're gonna make bold proclamations, there are two outcomes. You either look like a fucking boss. But the part that we cut out there too is that he also said, "I'm going to score 2 goals tonight."
Yeah, he told. I don't know if it was it in that or was it just he told the broadcast team?
It was just it was like he told the broadcast, he said, "I'm going to score two goals. I'm going to score a couple goals."
Just in the interest of transparency, could you throw up some of these comments because not a single person agrees with me and Pete. They all are with Sean saying like, "Ew, he's so cringe." That like somebody said. LMAO, so not intimidating. Quote, they're going to cry. Okay, bro. When you put it that I see where you're all coming from, but I'm still on the side of this is cool.
I'm not saying that it's like a cool statement in a vacuum.
Cutter.
But I want him to do that shit. Like I want him to lean into nobody likes me. I'm going to say what I want to say.
That's only cool if you do it in a cool way. Like just if like the Denver locker room, for example, and it's not to say that Cutter, like anything Cutter was going to do was going to intimidate anybody, but if you're in the Denver locker room and you hear that, you literally bust out laughing at him. Like there is no like nobody is looking at that and being like, that guy's got it. Like you just ended up embarrassing yourself.
It is pretty understated, but I also think that if you dress it up and make it a whole show, that's where I think it becomes more cringeworthy. Where if he's like cutting a promo, I don't know. Like I don't know. I kind of want to see him do it the other end of the spectrum. I want to see him dress it up and see what's harder to digest.
I want Cutter Gauthier on this show immediately.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Because like the thing with the Philly thing, if he, before he had gotten traded, had come out publicly and was just like, I'm not playing for this sorry ass franchise, I think everyone would have been like, what is he doing? That's weird. But since it happened afterwards, even though he never actually did anything, but it was once everyone started shitting on him, like that, it was only cool because people made him a sympathetic figure, not because he was just an asshole. And this makes him just seem like, I don't want to say he looks like an asshole. It doesn't do anything for him.
I'm kind of being swayed to be on your side. That like, dress it up, lean fully into it. Be shameless in like what you're saying, rather than kind of dipping your toes in the water with like a monotone.
Yeah, no. See, I like there being a like.
No,
what's that guy's fucking problem?
I don't mind it being like subdued. Like I think that can be cool. It just would have been way cooler if like after the game they win and he was just like, I knew they'd be crying. Like I knew that tears were coming.
The Cutter Gauthier names are fucking amazing in the chat right now.
Cutter Gauthiers.
There is Cutter Gauthiers and Cry Tears Gauthier. My favorite was Cut My Penis Gauthier. Walked right into that one, Cutter. Nice. Shouldn't have said. So I told you before the show, Pete, I had a take on Cutter Gauthier.
Yeah.
Cutter Gauthier has arrived in Anaheim. He's being a heel. He is what's that guy's fucking problem guy?
There's already one of those in Anaheim, though.
And his services are no longer needed. Trevor, bye-bye. That'll be all. We'll take a second round pick. All set. I love the Ducks in their future so much that now I'm like, oh yeah, get him gone.
I kind of disagree. I kind of like the Ducks being the what the fuck is their entire problem deal.
We should train Frank to be like a little bitchy.
If they brought back the classic purple and teal right now and just became the NHL's biggest assholes, they would be like an absolute fan favorite.
You know who they got that isn't like a what's that guy's problem, but like this fucking guy, Radko Gudas?
Yeah.
I was just going to say
Well,
that.
no, I like Radko Gudas a lot.
But I'm saying like they got him young and old.
Yeah.
So this is a good question. Do we keep as GMs of the Ducks? You set that up so perfectly.
That was flawless.
They already got one. Or do they? See ya, bud.
You have to get rid of Trevor in that. Like, I don't think there is. I think that would be. I think there was like a cap on how much asshole, like that kind of asshole you can have.
What? But the other option is that Cutter Gauthier arrives to Anaheim. Trevor Zegras lays eyes on him like as a little bit older, a little bit more mature, and he goes, "The fuck is that guy's problem?" And people go,
"Hey, buddy.
Hey, that was you."
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, shit.
Do you ever notice that you see that the weird shit that guy does? I don't know. He just rubs me wrong. And everyone's like, oh, interesting.
Burning a year on Gauthier's ECL just to make Trevor Zegras grow up.
Oh, my God. I thought you were going to say
ELC.
that Trevor Zegras sees him and is like, I could take you under my wing. I want no Zegras wings touching a fucking thing.
Agreed.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know what. And look, our friend Jimmy Stewart from the Felger and Maz show, a lot of times he'll come up with hypotheticals and trades and blah, blah. And then the first question they ask him, the first time they question anything about it, just like even politely, they're like, okay, well then, so then what would they do about the salary cap? His answer is always, that's for them to figure out.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
So like, oh, well, where do they trade him? What do they want? Everything. That's for that's way above our pay grade.
Here's the thing, though. So if you keep Trevor Zegras and Cutter Gauthier, which you're definitely keeping Cutter Gauthier, obviously, you have both. You carry both.
Are you sure? Are you sure about that? 2 months. I think old Kevin Hayes is like.
You keep both those guys on the roster heading into next year. They're gonna have to spend so much money in veterans over the offseason to just bring those guys in and be like, listen, we need somebody to kick these guys' asses.
They are going to win the first overall pick and have to trade it for Nick Foligno.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
I feel like it really depends on what Cutter is like. Because if he's just like an asshole who goes about his business, and then like if the Ducks can be the team where it's just like we won't fuck with you until you fuck with us, and then we're gonna ruin your shit. Kind of like the Panthers a little bit, where they're just like kind of just wrecking shit. But I feel like generally speaking, are not like. They only do it when they're prompted, kind of.
It's also worth pointing out that Cutter Gauthier is fucking nasty.
I was going to say,
so
at no point
Very
in this
good hockey
conversation have we said he is fucking incredible.
He's so good.
Him and Will Smith, oh, my goodness.
Ryan Leonard.
Yeah.
I'm
really
interested to see if Ryan Leonard arrives to Washington this week. That's a good one to keep an eye on.
They could fucking Charlie McAvoy him.
Mm-hmm.
Just fucking plop him in. Just be like, hey, we got a first round series to lose. Get in here.
If Washington makes the playoffs and Ryan Leonard's on the team, I might root for them.
Sonny Milano, just like what a fun group.
There's no team I want to come out of the East more than the Washington Capitals. Just straight vibes.
Let's not shoot our wads. I think
you're such an asshole.
Let's not shoot our wads. But when we do our, I think it'll be an in-episode discussion when we do our like best cup teams for chaos things. It's just going to be a conversation about the Washington Capitals.
Absolutely. Or really just the Eastern Conference wildcard.
Oh, they're all going to be Eastern Conference teams.
I was going to say this earlier because this is not, I don't feel like shooting the wad. Like, there's can't be a team that would feel less like, I don't think that, like, Philadelphia has to be the team I would be the least excited about making the playoffs at this point. It would feel so like, oh my God, they just limped their way into this and now they're just going to get put down in the first round.
And literally everybody has given up on them, including their coach.
Yeah, like they don't feel like if they somehow make it, even though it feels like a week ago everyone was like they're not making the playoffs.
Yeah, I sold myself on the Penguins, and I'm still kind of hoping the Penguins sneak in because I want some Crosby. I like those old fucks.
I think that would be the most like actual fun hockey.
Yeah,
the Penguins.
So I'm kind of rooting for the Penguins. I do agree though that like the Flyers can get the fuck out of here by now because like their own coaches quit on them. Not quit on them, but like let's declare them dead.
I'm glad this question has been asked in the chat. It's asked around this time of year all the time. It's a very valid question. Don't you need to play 10 games to burn a year off an entry-level contract? No, incorrect. You need to play one game. You are thinking of CHL players with going back to junior and all that. So that's why beginning of the season, you get players on the rosters for a little bit. They'll play 5, 6, 7 games, then they'll end up sending them back. They're dealing with older players now, and again, it's just different rules that apply to them. So this is now done basically to make a player sign with you because they want to get to it behooves them financially to burn a year off their entry-level contract. They get to their second contract sooner. So that's why that happened.
This was, if you remember, like part of the reason that it was speculated that Gauthier wanted out of Philadelphia.
Wanted to do this at the end of last year.
He wanted to do it last year. He wanted to burn his first year last year, and they said, nope, we're a mess. Stay in college.
That's what I was saying to DJ before the show. I feel like that was a very, maybe not unforeseen, but undiscussed consequence of like player empowerment is not necessarily that guys are going to force their way out of teams, but teams are going to be forced to burn these first years on contracts if the players want it, or else they're going to have a Cutter Gauthier situation on their hands.
The reason the Bruins got Torrey Krug, who was an undrafted free agent, was that they agreed, and this was less common back then, but they agreed to burn the first year off of his deal.
That's what happened with Jack McBain in Arizona. They traded for him from Minnesota because Minnesota didn't want to burn that first year.
Yeah, they signed him, had him play a couple. He wasn't close to ready for the NHL. They signed him, but just dressed him for a couple of games. Then he went and played the next season in the AHL. Joined them in the postseason, scored 1 million goals.
Oh yeah,
that was the coolest shit in the world.
That was awesome.
Matt Barkowski was scoring. Everybody was eating. Man, those 2013 Penguins. My dad texted me during the. My dad went to BC famously, and he texted me during the national championship, and he said, "Man, this kid for Denver reminds me of a certain goalie for the Bruins one series." And I said, "Yep, Tuukka 2013 against the Penguins." He said, "It's not who I was talking about."
Just one more note on the NCAA championship. David Carl would be a real nice fit in Buffalo, if you ask me.
What do you think, Sean? Could be fun.
Could be fun.
Nice fit.
I mean, I said to you guys before the show, my mind has kind of been on Berube for a while, but
I also think that would be a great fit.
Literally,
two definitely different coaches, but I think both would be a significant upgrade.
I always get a little wary of guys like if somebody transitioning from college to the pros, especially at a time when the Sabres don't really have any time to waste. Like they kind of just need to start winning hockey games, which is not to say that Carl can't, but we know Berube can. And we know that he can coach a team that's underperforming. But literally anybody that's not Don Granato, please and thank you.
We have another. It's Monday and people are pissed. In the final seconds of a must-win game for the Penguins, so we thought, let's not, even though these teams have 1 and 2 games left and are not in the playoffs, let's not be stupid enough to call any of these games must-win in the Eastern Conference because they're not. They just won't die. The Penguins should be out of it. They should be dead. They had to play Alex Nedeljkovic in 11 fucking straight games. Do you know what Connor Hellebuck's longest stretch has been?
11.
5.
Really?
And Connor Hellebuck is the fucking guy that plays every game. So the shit that the Penguins were doing, what you got, Sean?
Just don't let Colorado get that series to 7 games. Just saying.
That's a good point. He'd never played that many straight games.
Passes like, Connor
Hellebuck just turns into dust.
Isn't that fucking crazy?
That is
11
wild.
straight games in the year of our Lord 2024.
To be fair, though,
yeah,
the Jets are playing defense this year.
That's fair. Yeah, the Hellebuck thing isn't as Hellebucky as it usually is.
Yeah.
That's very, very true. But final seconds of this game, the Penguins needed. They kept it close. Bruins ended up kind of pulling away. They didn't actually really keep it close. Bruins win. And in the final seconds, David Pastrnak, offensive zone, gets right in. I can't even remember. Did they pull Nedeljkovic in that game? They might have had to.
I don't know.
Whoever the goaltender was, David Pastrnak just fucking lets one rip. Slap shot right at him. I will say, for as mad as everyone got at David Pastrnak, it wasn't his hardest shot.
No, he
just fucking.
He for sure took his foot off the gas. He wasn't trying to score there.
I will say he wasn't trying to score.
It didn't look like he was trying to score.
He knew what he was doing, though. It wasn't good behavior. I like it.
Same.
I like
it. he had a breakaway.
Listen,
Is
yeah,
he supposed
I
to
was
do
gonna
not
say,
shoot?
if the clock is still running, it's hockey. Like, what are we even talking about? You get paid based on how many goals you scored. Like, people don't ask how you scored them.
Famously,
at the end of
David
the day.
Pastrnak already has a contract.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, like, I'm never going to get mad at somebody for trying to score a goal while the clock is still running.
Oh, I mean, the one that always got me was Jack McKeon getting mad that teams were running up the. It was remember the Red Sox? I want to say had an 11-run first inning against the Marlins, and Jack McKeon was like, wasn't cool how they ran up the score. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's tell fucking Todd Walker to actually strike out.
Yeah,
He's a free agent at the end of the year, and he's not good at baseball. If you could
And it's
just
the first inning. Like,
Yeah.
also that, yeah,
you got 8 innings
when
to
we're
come
playing
back.
baseball as a whole, if we're talking about a sport that doesn't have a clock, score as much as you can.
Right. I mean, the Pastrnak thing, I don't have a problem with it. There's time on the clock. There's a goaltender in net. Well, you can't take a slap shot on an empty net. You can't take a slap shot on a covered net. The fuck? When you're not allowed to take slap shots at all?
I'll tell you what, my game is shaping up pretty well because famously I don't have a slap shot at all. I think that I'd be okay in the NHL right now.
You're not getting beat up. That's for sure.
Yeah, no one's touched it.
I'll also say, I know it won't, like, optically wouldn't have hit the same. To me, it'd be way more respectful if, as there's seconds on the clock, Pasta just takes the goalie like out of his pads and just fucking deeks the
Dangles
shit
him?
out of him and scores. Like, that is way more disrespectful than
Oh, of
taking a
course.
slap shot.
Yeah. He wound up and he shot it basically at him.
Yeah, everyone can see where this
That's
is going.
why I said, like, I don't think that he was trying to score there.
He
Yeah.
should have done what I used to do in floor hockey in college, which is get real close, wind up for a slap shot, do one of these, and then just pass it into the net. Because the goalie does, like, I would do the same thing. The goalie just like fucking runs
Dive out of the way.
Like,
Or
what
what
are
if
you doing?
what if he had done like I know it's not exactly the Kucherov, right, where he doesn't actually shoot. Like, what if he had just like fucking wound up and then just let the puck drift into the net?
That's a cool move too. The chat, very helpful. Thank you. Tristan Jarry was in net. Nedeljkovic was pulled after 3 goals, but not just because of the 3 goals, because he had played 11 straight games. Wild stuff. Lastly, for It's Monday and People Are Pissed, we haven't talked much Coyotes other than them being great lads and spoilers. Alex Marullo put out a statement on, I want to say it was Friday or Saturday. As you can see there, I'm not going to read a fucking word of it. You could see on the second graph at the end of the word "and," the cursor, the typing thing is blinking.
Is it really? That's
I didn't see
amazing.
anybody talking about it. It was the first thing my eyes
No,
saw.
I saw someone else point that out on Twitter. I hadn't noticed it originally. I don't know. Do you not know how to export something as a photo?
That's hilarious.
I do need to shout out that it's got DJ Bean signing tab ass signature.
Yeah.
I just do a fucking straight line too.
Somebody said Alex Marullo signature grade A-.
It's not a good one, but
It's
I think
terrible.
that he has to know that going in.
Whenever I see signatures, I just want to understand what they're trying to go for. Like, is that supposed to be a big M or is that like a little A that goes into
You know
something
what
else?
this is? This is the signature of somebody who supposedly, this has been heavily rumored. I don't know if it's true, so apologies to Alex Marullo if I'm suggesting something that's wrong. Was not paying hotel bills. That was something that was rumored
Did hear
about
that
the
rumor.
Coyotes. We don't know if that's true or not, but this is
I feel pretty confident in saying that there is some truth in
there's
that.
reason to believe that based on context. But this is somebody who's like, I really can't afford to have somebody steal my identity right now, so I'm not giving up what my real signature is.
That's
so I'm
fair.
just going to draw a line.
This is the second most interesting sort of statement that came from the Coyotes ownership group, allegedly from the past week, because there was a statement earlier before this one came out that said, "Let the fans know we hear them and we are doing everything we can to keep the Coyotes in Arizona with a forever home. We feel their pain. It sucks. And we are sorry they have to go through this." That was posted by the Coyotes Central fan page, basically, and it was attributed to the Coyotes ownership, and it was reshared by the Arizona Coyotes. Said this morning on the 32 Thoughts podcast from Elliot Friedman that he believes that Bettman and the NHL gave a gag order to Alex Marullo and the Coyotes, which is why they took so long to say anything. They were just burying their heads in the sand with the relocation to Utah rumors. That would check out if they were not allowed to release a statement and then they like put one out through a fan page and then reshared it.
So weird. 2 things. The the chat is wise to note another issue with the statement. The all caps statement, fucking horrible. Yeah. Grow up. But as you could see, there's a lot that was wrong with that just from they left the font thing blinking. Also, on your on the statement that you brought up, are they intentionally saying forever home because they're dogs?
Oh, I never.
That was the weirdest part about that. Like forever home. You're talking about like adopting a fucking puppy.
Like, you know that even if you build a new arena, it's not going to be your forever home. You're going to have to build a new arena at some point.
I did Google too to double check whether coyotes were dogs. They are.
Yeah, they're canines. Yeah, the desert dogs.
Well, I mean, I guess you could read into it and say they're doing like if you put them in the ground and you bury them in the desert. That is their forever home, most likely.
That is.
So if they're dead in the desert, that could be their forever home.
Final place of rest.
Yeah, exactly. The Coyotes have found their final resting place.
Yeah.
My thing about that second statement is, how is that like? That's a statement from the ownership. Like, if there was a gag, like I don't understand how that is a sufficient enough loophole around any possible gag order.
That's essentially like a quote, not a statement, you know. But I see. But
yeah,
point.
I mean, it's a quote attributed to ownership that was reposted by the Coyotes. That is as good as that might as well just be a statement directly from the ownership. Like, I don't understand. I
also think it's hilarious that they put out a statement that just literally says it sucks.
We're missing the best part of all this, though, which is that the Coyotes, after putting out that Alex Murillo statement, have not just stopped fucking posting. And you could say that there's a gag order towards ownership and everything. Is the social team gone? What happened? They had a fucking game yesterday, and their last tweet, other than that, was their final against the Oilers.
I'm just hoping somebody was finally like, please, just like, because they shouldn't. There's nothing. No, every time they tweet something, they just get ratioed to the high heavens by people saying.
Back.
They just get ratioed to the high heavens by people like making fun of them, and it was like, why would you? But I don't post anything at this point.
They've famously committed to posting through it for a long, long time.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I feel like they kind of did that. Like that first day where they really got put in the dirt, they did that, and everyone made fun of them. And do you bring
live? Are we doing a live boxing?
Yep.
Unboxing.
Just got a package.
Who's it from?
Keep talking.
Who's it from?
Let's see.
I hope it's the Coyotes jersey. That'd be amazing.
Dude, that would be the single funniest thing of all time.
If this is, I know it's from one of our friends.
Okay.
Do you want a box opener, or
what's that?
Do you want a box opener, or is it?
No. Don't need it.
Fair enough.
This is the second ever unboxing live on a show, and the first one, famously,
it's very underwhelming.
Very underwhelming. Very underwhelming. So the bar has been set pretty low. I have a feeling that this one is going to exceed it based off of the little information that I have.
Do we have any more Coyotes thoughts or takes?
Just all I was going to say is that I feel like after that, like the first day or two where they really were trying to tweet through it and just getting blown up on Twitter, that someone finally was like, please, for the love of God, just delete the app. Like, please don't say anything.
I found it interesting that, like, learning more about what's going on with the Coyotes right now, it sounds like they're going to go to Utah this week to, like, check out the facilities and stuff and, like, get a look at their new forever home. But from the sounds of it, it sounds like the Coyotes are still going to exist.
Oh, fuck yes.
Okay. It sounds like the Coyotes are still going to exist as, like, an NHL team, but just, like, an inactive NHL team for the next 5 years.
Really weird limbo thing.
Yeah. So, all right, we got
That's awesome.
The Russian nesting dolls from the Columbus Blue Jackets. So there's the Kirill Marchenko Russian nesting doll. Let's
Sean, can you give me the camera?
Oh,
all right.
Yes.
That's Kirill Marchenko.
So I've warned you. There's been some difficulties by people trying to get into them. So
I mean,
I saw someone have to get something to pry it open.
This thing is.
Ooh-wee.
And inside we got Ivan Provorov.
Do you think that, like, the players...
And then we got Chinnikov. And then where's my guy? Where's my guy?
I'm very curious how they decided about the sizing.
So that's what I was going to ask. I was like, do you think that some of the, like, the smaller players...
Damn, Bronkov's got...
I am so pissed if I'm Bronkov.
Can you give me the camera again, Sean?
That is so small.
fucked Voronkov. That is, yo,
That's crazy.
if I
Nice
am ever
Voronkov. Where's the
playing
rest of it?
against him, I'm giving him the too small. Wow.
Yeah, I wonder like if players were insulted by the size assignments of the rushing nesting dolls.
Well, they
I mean,
sure got the biggest one right.
I was gonna say I would argue that they did it right though.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody wants to be inside Kirill Marchenko.
Yeah, true.
That's for sure.
I mean, that guy's a whale, so no Pinocchio, but that guy's eating him up. Not only did the nice people at the Columbus Blue Jackets send this lovely doll, this set of dolls, they sent
two?
so many of them.
Oh,
What?
let's go.
Holy moly. What?
I don't know if we're allowed to do giveaways or anything, but maybe
We got 4 sets of the Russian nesting dolls.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
imagine the fucking profit we're about to turn. No,
So
so
money
maybe
back.
on we have a big playoff stream on Saturday, so for sure put that in your calendars. Maybe we give one away or something, or who knows? We have so many of these now.
Hell yes.
That's amazing. So shout out the Columbus Blue Jackets. Let's do some 3 stars, shall we? Who we got 3 stars? So Denver, we put in there. We already talked about Matt Davis going nuts in the Frozen Four. Allowed just 1 goal to BU, and then shut out that loaded BC team. Amazing. Also, this was at the end of last week, but still worth discussing. Vampire Weekend at the Rangers game last week was fantastic. Sean, do you have the... So that's left to right, drummer CT, Chris Thompson, wearing the Pete Blackburn NHL hat.
Yep.
There was a lot of buzz about why does that hat exist? Why is he wearing that? Why can't he pick a team?
I have like 7
I
of
just
those
think that's
hats.
cool behavior.
I have like 7 of those NHL Shield hats.
I mean, that's the classic.
They're awesome.
It's the classic Rob Lowe.
Yeah.
Just
Yep.
respect the shield.
Possibly my favorite Twitter follower, Ezra Koenig on the right, just hanging. What a guy. And in the middle,
Was that like a intentional like slick flex?
yeah, Ezra Koenig follows me on Twitter famously.
Nice. Good for you.
But
Way to sneak that in there.
in the middle, like I don't know what their levels of fandom are for CT. I mean, clearly CT it will not align himself with the Rangers for some reason. Chris Bayo in the middle is, I think, musically the biggest hockey fan that I know of. Like, can you think
Michael
of?
Bublé.
Yeah, but like I don't think like Bublé's like always watching the games and doing all that.
I mean, he canceled
brother.
a concert for a playoff
He
game.
canceled
for
the
example.
Yeah,
concert.
that's
He
true.
walked into the All-Star Game media room and started pointing out media members.
But no,
And I
that's
d-
because it was people. That's because it was people that he knew. But maybe, yeah.
No.
I don't
It
know.
he said, "I recognize you from Instagram." To one of the,
I think he's a hockey
fucking
guy. He plays
bar down
fantasy
guys.
hockey. Like I think Bublé is probably
He is obsessed with hockey.
He also
he has
we
a
didn't-
rink in his basement.
also
yeah,
true.
we didn't discuss this. I don't know if we shared this, but he was also booked to be on our show and like looked up our socials, commented on one of them,
Yeah.
and then didn't do our show.
That's the best.
What
Respect.
what
but
kind of trash behavior?
I think that's a good move. That's a cool move.
Yeah. Somebody said no mention of Women's Worlds today. Apologies, we did not. Bublé was eating bread with Steve Dangle.
Fun
True.
fact: the arena where the Women's Worlds is in Utica, I believe, was the inspiration for the garden. It was the first, like, you know how they have those wires like that kind of like suspend across the roof or whatever. It's like a very special arena historically speaking where they're playing Women's
It
Worlds.
did look cool.
So there's your Women's Worlds talk.
Tate McRae, could Tate McRae be a bigger? I don't want to now make this like a Bayo versus everybody thing.
Tate McRae
But-
just might be too young.
I follow, but like, of the musicians that I know of who are hockey people, the ones that I know are like slaving over games are the guys in Vampire Weekend are huge hockey. I'm sorry, the guys in Raw Riot are huge hockey people, and like all of Chris Bayo's social posts are about either the New York Rangers or Steve from Sex and the City.
I will say, I feel like Bieber deserves mention in this. I don't know how much he watches hockey, but he's just always around hockey guys.
I think
Obviously,
Bieber cares about the
Leafs
more than anything else. Like,
Yeah,
I don't see Bieber tuning into like neutral hockey games.
That might be fair.
I think he's got a lot going on.
This is a good question.
I have to point out, like, the two people that we mentioned, maybe ahead of Bayo, Bublé and Tate McRae, two people who were like, yeah, I might come on the show, and then later decided no.
Bad.
And
Is that
we've got a little announcement for the week ahead.
Yeah, I said we have loaded show this week. A lot of things coming. All right, here's the rundown for this week. Tuesday, Sebastian Aho of the Stanley Cup favorite Carolina Hurricanes. We're gonna put his feet to the fire.
That's right.
We're gonna say, what do you think?
Sebastian
Don't let us
Aho,
down.
On Tuesdays, tomorrow's episode, Wednesday. This is DJ's White Whale, basically.
Oh yeah, Bayo will join us.
Yeah, Chris Bayo from Vampire Weekend will join the show live on Wednesday. Thursday, we are doing the Boston Bruins Pro Shop. We are doing Pro Shop Wars in Boston. We saved it for last this season. So I can tell you right off the bat, we know it's a good Pro Shop. We love that Pro Shop. Very excited about that one. Friday, we are putting the Blitz on our YouTube channel. We're doing a ton of content, end of season content, playoff preview content. That will start to trickle out on Friday. We'll make our Stanley Cup picks. And then on Saturday, we're doing a pretty lengthy live stream on YouTube for the start of the playoffs. We will be live hours before the first game starts on Saturday, and we'll be going live throughout the day until the last game ends. I believe that's the plan. So
yeah,
fucking huge week for content for the show. Awesome guests.
Banger guests, banger content. I'm looking forward to Friday when we can reveal our picks for the Stanley Cup, because there's not season ends Thursday and then it all starts Saturday. So Friday, actually a little New Hampshire Saturday. So Friday, we give you our selections, our picks. Are we picking the same team? Who knows? I think that there'll be some fun surprises in there, but it's going to be really, really good, and it's going to be great content. So
did not realize Saturday was 420.
420 is Saturday. Playoffs start on 420.
That
could be one hell of a stream.
Oh man, I'm so blitzed.
420 is a big day.
Before we get out of here, we do have a slate grade.
Yes, presented by Game Time. There are 8 games this evening. 7 p.m. U.S. Bruins at Capitals. Playoff implications. 7 p.m. U.S. Canadiens at Red Wings. Playoff implications. 7 p.m. U.S. Sabres at Lightning. 7 p.m. U.S. Islanders at Devils. Playoff implications. 7 p.m. U.S. Predators at Penguins. Playoff implications on both sides. Very good. 7:30 p.m. Senators at Rangers. It's got a little President's Trophy implications, but not the hugest thing. 9:30 p.m. Sharks at Oilers. Not really implications. 9:30 p.m. Huge one. Wild at Kings. This is a good slate. This is a good slate. It's not an incredible slate, but it's a good slate. I'm going to give it an A-.
Yeah, it's lacking any start times with a number that begin with 8, which is a little tough.
That's a tough structure. You're right.
I am not an 8 o'clock start time guy.
You're not a start time guy?
I don't like it. Like, I like there being basically 2 blocks of games, like early games, late games.
Yeah, disagree.
You know what I like? I like a 9.
Yeah, so where I disagree with you there is all these fucking games are going to hit intermission at like the same fucking time.
Yeah, I guess the intermission part's a little tough, but like I also don't mind having 20 minutes to get up and like make food or do something if I need to.
It's the difference between you and me. I don't like doing anything else other than watching hockey.
I do know the word like.
A-.
Speaking of the word like.
What?
Speaking of the word like.
Oh, speaking of the word like. It's like Spike time. Sorry that you had to try that 3 times. That's on me.
Okay. I can't tell. This isn't the complaint. It is part of the like Spike thing. So I like Pete running the like Spike. I think it's almost like a guaranteed part of our show that I talk about the like Spike first and then Pete goes. I don't want to do that, but
It is Like Spike time. If you have hung around, this has been an extra long episode. So if you've hung around, congratulations. You've made it to the Like Spike. 3, 2, 1. For the final time this season during the regular season on a Monday, it's Like Spike time.
Like Spike.
Hit that thumbs up right below the video player. That thumbs up gives us a nice little like. I don't know how it helps us, but it does. Also, if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do that now. We are we're climbing. What do we want to set a goal for the end of the playoffs?
I have one in mind. I was wondering, do we want to set a goal for before the stream Saturday, because that worked so well last time?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that it will have to, the end of the playoffs will have to depend on where we end the stream at.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping the stream can bump up those subs, because it's always fun when YouTube throws us in front of new people.
But I feel like we made a little bit of a mistake. We held the stream hostage last time.
Yeah.
And we got all those.
Well, somebody asked that if the stream is going to be rewatchable after the fact. I think it will be this time.
As long as it's not over 12 hours, it will be.
Okay, it's probably over 12 hours. Well, we could always do the thing where we
No, it won't be.
When's the final game
Wait,
start?
when are we starting?
I don't know, but I like the idea of dangling the carrot of, if we get enough subscribers during extending it. But
we
could
could
kill
also end the stream right before the 12-hour mark, and that will save the video, and then we start a new one if we want to keep going.
When are we starting the stream?
That's a good question. We haven't.
We don't know yet because we don't know the schedule. Got a number in mind, but think not quite more. Think like middle of the day-ish.
Yeah.
Like maybe around 1, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely be done by 1 a.m., right?
Not if there's like a 10 o'clock game.
But there's only 2, I thought. I thought we knew what the schedule was.
We got to figure out that it hasn't officially been announced.
Oh,
yeah.
That one is a little. We got to we got an idea.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah. But that'll be very good, and hopefully we get a bunch of more people in there. I was thinking about new listeners and things that they might have missed. I hope that everybody has gone and checked out our interviews with Connor Bedard and Brad Marchand and all the players that we had early in the season when players weren't trying to make the playoffs and could come on stupid podcasts. The other thing is, has any bit aged worse than the beginning of the season? Like, our way of hazing Sean was pretending that the Coyotes didn't exist.
Oh, that's so mean. I forgot about that.
I just remembered it yesterday and was like, fuck. And then I brought it up on today's
final
show.
season with the Coyotes, we pretended that they didn't exist.
Yeah. Like, that sucks.
Sorry,
I tried.
Sean.
And as you might notice, I don't really talk about the Coyotes as much. I was beaten in submission via your bullying.
That is horrible.
So it is sad. You should feel pretty bad about it. I think the media deserves, and by the media I mean you two, deserves a little bit of the blame for the Coyotes. You know, they pushed that agenda, and now look what's happened.
But we didn't do a shut up, Sean, no one cares about the Coyotes. We would do a Sean would be like, and the Coyotes won last night, and Pete and I would look at each other and be like, do you ever know what he's talking about? We were doing that kind of thing.
We did the whole Larry David. Who cares?
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
We all silly like the mayor.